Hi, everyone. Memorial Day is coming up, and I want to have a heart to heart chat about it. Did you know more than half of Americans don't actually know what Memorial Day is for? According to a 2025 survey, only 48% of people knew it's a holiday to honor military personnel who died in service. That means that over half of us are a bit fuzzy on the meaning. No wonder some folks treat it like it's just another day off. But as a U.S. Air Force veteran, I feel like this is an important topic to share with you. So, Memorial Day isn't just the unofficial start of summer. So I do love a good barbecue. It's a day with deep meaning and emotion. So make sure that you grab a comfy seat. I've got my couch, you grab yours, and let's chat about what Memorial Day actually is and a little bit of its surprisingly interesting history, some meaningful ways we can honor the day beyond the mattress sales and the barbecues, the burgers, and the emotional side of Memorial Day, especially for veterans and anyone dealing with mental health struggles around this time. So let's dive in. All right. First up, a little backstory. What's Memorial Day all about? To put it simply, Memorial Day is the day Americans set aside to honor those who died in military service to our country. That's the big difference from Veterans Day in November, which honors all who served, living or dead, whereas Memorial Day is really focused on remembering the fallen. Or, as I like to explain, Veterans Day is for those of us who made it out in one piece, more or less. And Memorial Day is for honoring the heroes who unfortunately did not. So, no, it's not Happy Memorial Day unless you find remembering dead heroes to be a happy thing. Most of us don't. If you're about to cheerfully text your veteran friend Happy Memorial Day, maybe consider saying something like, thinking of you or thank you for your service instead. A lot of vets don't consider Memorial Day a happy day. It's a bit like saying happy funeral anniversary. So it's not great. So a simple hope you're doing well today goes a very long way. Now, how did Memorial Day start? Time for a casual history lesson. It actually dates back to the Civil War era, a time when the US saw unimaginable loss. So, to cope with the massive grief, people began decorating graves of fallen soldiers in the springtime. It started as a grassroots thing. Communities, often led by women, would lay flowers and say prayers for the war dead. In fact, women were really important in this. One of the direct roots of what became Memorial Day was the tradition of women decorating graves after the Civil War. So, shout out to those strong ladies of the 1860s, multitasking as usual, taking care of home, and also basically founding Memorial Day, not a big deal. Back then, it wasn't called Memorial Day yet. It was Decoration Day, literally because it involved decorating graves with flowers, wreaths, and flags. The first official Decoration Day was proclaimed in 1868 by General John A. Logan. No relation to Wolverine, by the way. They had a ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery that year, and about 5,000 people showed up to honor the fallen and place small American flags on graves. That flag tradition continues. If you've ever seen Arlington around Memorial Day, every grave marker has a crisp U.S. flag by it. It's a powerful sight. Now, multiple towns claim to be the birthplace of Memorial Day, because, of course, we Americans love a good origin story brag. Waterloo, New York is officially credited as the birthplace of Memorial Day. President Johnson gave them the title in 1966. But the truth is, a lot of communities, north and south, were doing their own memorial gatherings in the late 1860s. For example, in Columbus, Mississippi, a group of women got together in April 1866 to decorate not just their Confederate soldiers' graves, but also the Union soldiers' graves. Think about how emotionally huge that was. Less than a year after the Civil War, these women honored former enemy soldiers alongside their own. That act of humanity and healing in Columbus is often noted as a big inspiration for Memorial Day. Essentially, Memorial Day was born from compassion and unity. Originally, Decoration Day, as it was known, was observed on May 30th every year. Why May 30th? Well, some say it was chosen because flowers would be in bloom all over the country by then. Others joke it was chosen because it was one day General Logan didn't have a battle anniversary on. Who knows? But for many years, people observed Memorial Day on May 30th, no matter what a day of the week that fell on. Then, in typical government fashion, Congress decided in 1971, hey, 3-day weekends are pretty nice, and officially moved Memorial Day to the last Monday in May. And that's how we all got a permanent long weekend. Gotta love America, honor the dead, and enjoy a Monday off. We multitask. Now, some traditional Memorial Day customs have developed over time. If you raise the US flag at home, there's a special protocol for this day. You're supposed to fly the flag at half staff from sunrise to noon, then raise it up to full staff for the rest of the day. And half staff, that just basically means halfway down the pole. I don't know if you've ever noticed that usually it symbolizes mourning. And then at noon, you lift the mood, I guess, by raising it up, symbolizing the nation's resolve to keep living and memory of the fallen moving forward. I only learned this in the Air Force. Before, I was just like, why noon? Is it like a lunch break type of thing? But it's an official thing. There's also something called the National Moment of Remembrance at 3 p.m. local time on Memorial Day every year. So Americans are encouraged to pause for a moment of silence, usually a minute long, to honor those who died in service. It's a simple but very profound gesture. Wherever you are at 3 p.m., take a minute to reflect. Set an alarm on your phone. If you're like me and might forget, at some point your phone will buzz at 3 p.m. and you'll be like, oh yeah, remember the fallen. It might feel a little bit odd at first, but it's actually kind of beautiful when you think about thousands of people pausing together in unity. Another tradition you might notice is people wearing or displaying red poppies. Ever see those little red paper or fabric flowers maybe being handed out by veterans near supermarkets? That's the red poppy, and it's a symbol of remembrance that dates back to World War I. It was inspired by a famous poem called In Flanders Fields, which described poppies growing over soldiers' graves in Europe. The idea caught on, and by 1920, the American Legion adopted the poppy as an official symbol to remember the fallen. So don't be surprised if someone offers you a poppy to pin on your shirts. They're very pretty and symbolic. It's a sweet, understated way to say, I remember and I honor. Oh, and before we move on from history to what we can do about it now, let me clear one common mix up. Memorial Day versus Veterans Day versus Armed Forces Day. Yep, there's the third one. Memorial Day, we covered, honoring those who died in service. Veterans Day, November 11th, honors all who served, especially living veterans. That's when you shower your favorite vets with love or gift cards. I never refuse them. And Armed Forces Day in May honors those currently wearing the uniform. If you mess these up, don't worry. It's a lot. It's a lot to remember. Also, a lot of us are used to it. Just maybe don't loudly thank a living veteran for Memorial Day. It might give us a bit of an existential crisis. Instead, Memorial Day is more about honoring the memory of those we've lost. And even as vets, use it to remember our friends and predecessors. All right. History lesson done. Now let's talk about how to honor and celebrate Memorial Day in a meaningful way. Because yes, you can absolutely grill burgers and chill, have a few beers. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the freedoms that fallen heroes fought to protect. But there are also some really fulfilling things you can do on Memorial Day that give it extra meaning. And so here are a few ideas, no pressure, but if you're looking for ways to observe the day beyond hitting the beach or shopping the sales, consider this list of options. Visit a military cemetery or memorial. This is one of the most traditional ways to spend Memorial Day, and it can be surprisingly impactful. You can visit a national cemetery like Arlington if you're near DC, that's one of the best places, or one of the many veteran cemeteries across the country, or even just a local cemetery that has veterans' graves. Bring some flowers or even little flags to place on the graves. You don't even have to know the person. Simply showing up and honoring any fallen soldier or service member is a beautiful gesture. I did this a lot back when I was still serving. I once found a headstone of a World War II soldier and just stood there for a moment and said, "Thank you." Trust me, you'll feel a connection. If you have kids, bringing them along and explaining why you're there can be a meaningful lesson and way more memorable. Attend a Memorial Day ceremony or parade. I still get goosebumps when I hear the opening notes of Stars and Stripes Forever. These events often include moments of silence, rifle salutes, or the playing of taps, that bugle call that can bring a tear to the toughest of souls. Man, if you've never attended one, it's worth experiencing. Stand there, put your hand on your heart when the flag passes, feel that collective respect in the air. It's powerful. Plus, you might meet some veterans and hear interesting stories. Just remember to hydrate and wear sunscreen if it's outdoors. It can be pretty hot this time of year. You don't want to leave looking like a red lobster, no matter how patriotic that may feel. Volunteer or support veterans and military families. Memorial Day is about those who died, and one way to honor them is to help take care of those they left behind or their fellow veterans. You could volunteer with organizations that support veterans, military families, or Gold Star families, those who lost someone. For example, there are groups that assemble care packages for troops, or charities that help wounded veterans, or local American Legion posts that might have projects for you to volunteer on. Even something as simple as helping place flags on graves can be a great activity. Plenty of volunteers do this in the days leading up to Memorial Day. And if you can't volunteer time, maybe consider a donation to a reputable organization in memory of a fallen soldier. It could be a big national nonprofit or even a local scholarship found in someone's honor. The act of giving back keeps a spirit of service alive. One Memorial Day, I helped out a VA hospital event, and just chatting with some of the older veterans there, hearing their stories, it felt like a good way to say, I remember and I care. And if you're a veteran yourself, sometimes volunteering to support your fellow vets can be healing for you too. Share a story or tribute. If you have a family member who died in service, or you know of a fallen hero you admire, Memorial Day is a fitting time to share their story. This could be as simple as posting on social media about them or talking about them with your friends and family. Keeping their memory alive is the form of honoring them. If you don't know anyone personally, like myself, you could pick a story of a fallen soldier that resonates with you. There are often articles around Memorial Day highlighting individuals or maybe someone from your town whose name is on a memorial plaque. Learn about them and take a moment to think of them as more than just a name. Even just reading their story silently to yourself and reflecting counts as honoring. It puts the human in human sacrifice, reminding us these were real people with real lives and dreams. Observe the national moment of remembrance at 3 p.m. I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth repeating as an idea because it's so simple yet profound. So at 3 p.m. local time, whatever you're doing, pause for a minute of silence. If you're at a gathering, you can gently suggest everyone to join in. If you have kids around, let them know beforehand why you're suddenly going quiet. Otherwise, you'll have that one toddler yelling, "Why aren't you talking?" mid moment. This 1 minute pause is a way the whole country can unite in remembering. I love this because even if you can't do anything else that day, you might be working or stuck traveling or whatnot. You can still stop at 3 p.m. and just think about the fallen for 60 seconds. It's not much to ask, and it truly honors the meaning of the day. Fly the flag, but do it properly. If you have an American flag, Memorial Day is definitely a day to fly it. We talked about the half staff till noon thing. So if you're going to do it, might as well do it right. You could even involve your family in a little flag ceremony, race it, salute it, teach the kids why it's half mast until lunchtime. And if you don't have a flag or a pole, you might put a small flag in your yard or window. It's a visible sign of remembrance. Sometimes the simple visuals, flags fluttering, porch lights, wreaths, can prompt a neighbor to also remember what the day is about. I have seen people who line their sidewalks with little flags every Memorial Day. It's simple, but every time I walk by, I end up thinking about those who served. Sometimes I take pictures because they're so perfectly aligned. Small acts of kindness. This one is more freedom. Do something kind in the name of Memorial Day. Maybe bake cookies for a military family down the street to let them know you appreciate their sacrifice, or call up a veteran friend or relative to just say hi and listen if they want to talk. If you know someone who lost a loved one in service, consider reaching out to them. You don't really have to say anything profound. Even a text like, "Hey, thinking of whoever, their loved one's name. Today, I'm grateful for their service." Something as simple as that can be very meaningful. One friend of mine told me that a simple check in on Memorial Day was the first time she felt someone else remembered her brother besides her. We can all be that person who remembers, even in a small way. And I also want to talk about the emotional side of Memorial Day, especially for veterans and also for anyone who struggles with mental health, because this can be complicated. As a veteran, even one who had a pretty chill and pleasant military experience like myself, I wasn't kicking down doors on the front lines. I was the intel nerd in the secure office, the secure vault. I joined the chair force. I'm grateful I didn't personally have close friends in combat that I lost. And I know my experience was in many ways easier than what others went through. But I have friends who did lose comrades, and I've got a whole extended military family of brothers and sisters in arms, and I feel their emotions on this day. For some veterans, Memorial Day is actually one of the hardest days of the year. That might sound a little odd if you haven't experienced it. You'll see us out at a barbecue, maybe laughing, having a couple of beers. Outwardly, we might look like we're having a great time, but deep inside, some of us are replaying memories we can't forget. One veteran described it perfectly. Outwardly, I smile, barbecue, swim, and pretend to have the Happy Memorial Day everyone looks forward to. However, internally, I feel the same emotional heaviness and overwhelming sadness I felt when I left Iraq. That captures it so well. It's like wearing a mask. We feel we have to act normal because it's a holiday, people are having fun, and we don't want to bring others down. But inside, we might be hurting, remembering fallen friends, or even dealing with guilt. And I also want to talk about that guilt for a second, something many veterans carry called survivor's guilt. It's that nagging thought of why them and not me, or I should have done more. Those feelings can bubble up. I'll be honest, even with my relatively safe service, I sometimes think about folks who had it much worse, or times I could have been in danger but wasn't. It's weird. You feel grateful to be alive and simultaneously guilty that others aren't. If you've lost someone in war, Memorial Day is like a spotlight on that loss. Even if you haven't lost someone personally, as a vet, you might think of the collective loss. All those names and faces, it can be emotionally heavy. Now, I know this is supposed to be a casual vlog, and here I am talking about something very deep and heavy. But part of being casual and real is being honest about feelings. So I want to say this, especially to my fellow veterans or service members listening. Whatever you feel on Memorial Day, it's okay. There's no right or wrong way to feel. If you need to cry, cry. If you want to be alone and have a quiet day of reflection, do that. If you prefer to surround yourself with friends to keep the ghosts at bay, that's okay too. And if you actually are okay and just feel pretty neutral or even happy, that's not a betrayal. Enjoying your life in freedom is, in my opinion, one way to honor those who died to protect it. I sometimes have felt weird for laughing on Memorial Day, like should I be allowed to have fun today? The answer is yes. You have permission to live your life. Just as we honor the dead by remembering them, we also honor them by living well. I would have wanted that, and I'm pretty sure you would have as well. Let's also address the civilian friends and family who might be watching. You might wonder, how do I support a veteran on Memorial Day? I don't want to say the wrong thing. First, bless you for even thinking that. It shows you care. The fact that you're here watching and trying to understand already means a lot. Like I said earlier, probably skip the Happy Memorial Day greeting. Instead, a simple thinking of you today or how are you doing today is nice. Just reaching out, a text, a call can make a difference for a vet on Memorial Day. Veterans organizations often encourage doing a buddy check around this time, basically checking in on your friends who served, especially those who might be alone or struggling. If you're a veteran, you know the drill. We never leave a comrade behind. So shoot a message to your battle buddy. It might mean more than you think. And if you're a civilian friend of a vet, we all know a vet, you can absolutely do the same. You're not bothering us, trust me. Another thing, if you're at a Memorial Day gathering and you know there are veterans or military family members there, just be mindful that they might be having a tough moment, that veterans might be remembering buddies or siblings who aren't here. You don't have to force a big conversation unless they start it. Sometimes just sitting next to someone in solidarity is plenty. And please don't pressure veterans to share war stories on Memorial Day. If one wants to talk about a friend they lost or something, they will. But don't be that guy at the party going, "So you were in combat? Tell us about your friends who died, or did you ever have to kill anyone?" Yes, unfortunately, it happens. I've seen some well meaning but awkward folks try to get a vet to open up over beers in the middle of a cheerful barbecue. Not the ideal time. Let vets and families take the lead on it and let them share if they want to. Now, for those of us in the veteran community who are struggling deeply, I want to say this clearly. You are not alone, and it's okay to seek help. Seriously, it doesn't make you weak. Actually, it's a brave thing to do. There are resources out there. The Veterans Crisis Line, you just dial 988, then press 1. They're available 24/7 if you find yourself in a dark place. No shame in using it. Sometimes the day or the weekend can bring things to a boiling point. If that happens, reach out to a therapist, a hotline, a friend that you trust, someone. We want you to be here for the next Memorial Day, okay? The way I see it, every veteran who's still with us is a living legacy for those who aren't. We honor them by taking care of ourselves too. As the saying goes, dead soldiers have done enough. It's on the living to live well. Memorial Day, though born from tragedy, is also about appreciating what we have because of those who sacrificed. It's about love of country, yes, but even more so, love of each other. The men and women we honor, each had people they loved and who loved them. When we do all these acts of remembrance, we're really saying love never dies. We keep their memory alive with love. And I find that very hopeful. It means a part of them is still here through us. If there's one thing I hope you take from this, it's to be intentional this Memorial Day. Even if you just do one small thing, like telling your kids why they have the day off school. And to the families of the fallen, we honor your sacrifice and we remember your loved ones' names and stories. See you in the next one.